Hey everyone, welcome to the FSH Fantasy Sports Help podcast for the week of June 25th to July 1st, 2018. I'm Pete and I'm here with Leland.
Hello.
I got Ryan on the Skype over here.
Hey. Hello.
How you guys doing this week?
Pretty good. A lot of
Not too bad.
trade speculation starting to happen and stuff like that. Getting
Yeah,
closer.
hot stove's heating up.
And the All-Star break is the 17th, July 17th. So just to let everyone know, we are going to be doing redraft projections and rankings. We'll get into that.
And give our
eventually,
reminder of owner percentage we're based on.
Oh, right, yes. All percentages are based on 12-team standard scoring settings from Yahoo. And all information is based on information from, Saturday, Sunday, that range. But if you want to get into some just kind of recent roster moves that are going on, Hector Neris was recalled after Adubray Ramos put on the DL and immediately struggled and was sent back down. So that didn't last very long. I think he made 2 appearances. If he wasn't already dropped, go ahead and do it. And other than Sir Anthony Dominguez, maybe Victor Arano could see some save opportunities, and also Pat Neshek once he returns from the DL.
And what do we also got?
Diamondbacks,
Diamondbacks
activated
news.
Shelby Miller from the 60-day DL. He's been out a long time. And, Shelby Miller, I mean, if you're in a deep league, maybe think about adding, but I really don't want much to do with it.
Only worth streaming in deep leagues, right?
Yeah, he's deep league. I don't know, Ryan. I mean, I wouldn't really want to roster him in anything other than like a 14 or bigger.
Yeah, I mean, considering he's got, 11 earned runs in 8 innings, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, and he didn't even look that great in his rehab starts, and I don't know. He had some upside a couple years ago with Atlanta, but that was like, it felt like a long time ago when he got traded for Dansby Swanson, who hasn't really looked that great either, but...
Right. Yeah, but, I mean, Shelby Miller's given up tons of home runs. His Ks are nice, but it's going to take some time to see if he's even worth a deep league ad, I think.
Earlier in the week, Gary Sanchez, right groin strain, it looks like he'll be out a while with that one.
Yeah, that one was bad. I saw him, he kind of limped away right after he hit first base, so you could tell something was wrong right away. But Austin Romine, how do you feel about him, Leland, as a pickup in the long or short term while Gary Sanchez is gone?
I mean, the thing about catchers, it's so thin, and sometimes you just want to have a catcher in a decent lineup, whether they're really that great of a player or not. I know we mentioned Tom Murphy before for Colorado, but Romine, he's going to play every day now. There's really no competition, and I mean, they had Gleyber Torres hitting 9th, so if he can just slot there now instead, because Gleyber Torres is hitting cleanup, Romine could have value. I don't know about 12 team, but at least 14. And if you're in a 2-catcher league.
We got possible catcher ads, Kurt Suzuki on Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. He's hitting really well now. And I think Tyler Flowers got injured.
Yan Gomes.
Yeah, like I said before, just good lineup. Cleveland stacked on offense. Jose Ramirez is going to win MVP possibly.
And Tom Murphy in the Rockies.
Yep. I mean, he's not playing every day like I hope, but when he plays, he hits. He's still hitting well over 300. I don't know. I mean, I wish they'd just give him a chance, but...
Yeah, and the power hasn't even shown up yet, and it definitely is not going to disappear, especially in Coors Field. So as long as the Rockies don't mess around too much with his playing time, he's still worth it completely.
Well, and also the thing about hitting in Colorado is you just have to make contact sometimes and it'll go out. So if you're hitting over 300, look at what DJ LeMahieu does. He always hits 300, and that 10 to 15 home runs he gets is probably anywhere else should be 8.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay, let's get into trade speculation, which is starting to pick up a little bit. The Brewers have interest in getting Derek Dietrich from the Marlins, who's playing way over what I thought he would do. He's hitting 300 with 11 home runs in 670 games, so I don't know if that's going to keep up, but he'll probably be a super utility option there.
Kind of hurts the value of people, right?
Yeah, several people.
Like who? Like Eric Thames?
A little bit. Jonathan Villar probably. Hernan Perez. I don't know. They got Brad Miller in there too, so they seem to hate Jonathan Villar. They just do not want to let him play every day, to the frustration of everyone who owns him.
Ryan, what do you think of that kind of trade possibility there?
I think there's a pretty strong chance that something like that happens, whether it's Dietrich or someone else, because obviously if you're picking up Brad Miller, you've had problems in the middle of the infield. Arcia was sent down. VR is not playing every day. and there's definitely some move that they want to make. They're pretty aggressive overall in the trade market,
They need a starting
and they're
pitcher though.
contending. They do absolutely. But especially for the middle of the infield, I think they're willing to make a change, and they've kind of shown that they recognize that by sending Garcia down and getting Miller. They're willing to take some chances, so something like this could definitely happen.
And I thought Arcia was going to have a decent year. I mean, he looked like he had 15 upside if he could hit maybe like 260, 270 in that lineup. But he just couldn't do it, and his defense wasn't enough to keep him up.
Yeah, he might just be a quad A player until he develops more. Really.
Yeah, he's got to just learn how to produce more offense. I mean, his defense is fine, but, you know, it's just
Right.
not enough. Looks like the Mariners and Rangers have a little bit interest in making a trade for Cole Hamels. The Mariners could use another starting pitcher. I mean, they have Paxton. Marco Gonzalez has emerged a little bit. We'll talk about that later. But other than that, I mean, I know how you feel about Felix Hernandez.
Yes, sad. I have a lot of respect for him, but you just have to admit he's not who he used to be.
Yeah, to me, he's a little bit better than, say, CC Sabathia. Like he's maybe a number 4 starter now, not a number 1 or 2.
Yeah, and he's not even, necessarily an old veteran per se, but he just has so many miles on that arm. He's
Mm-hmm.
really pitched a lot, so that's something to keep in mind.
Isn't he one of the only pitchers to win the Cy Young with like a losing record? That was
Yeah,
that was the year his ERA and WHIP were just so disgusting. Okay, let's see. Still just more speculation, but the Cardinals, which is a team that I've heard had interest in Mike Moustakas before, and the Phillies are looking at maybe making a deal for him, and anywhere other than the Royals is going to help his value. I mean, that lineup is just so bad.
He would increase hitting with in St. Louis there a lot.
Yeah, if he could just slot around some of the people they have in their lineup, like Marcelo
yeah,
Ozuna,
Tommy Pham,
right.
Jose Martinez, um,
Molina.
Yadier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even Paul DeJong's coming off the deal eventually. Colton Wong's, I don't know. I thought he'd be better, but still, they have people there. Dexter Fowler's not really doing much, but Harrison Bader. Let's see. Oh, I don't really want to bring it up again, but the Mets. I mean, they just really
Oh,
they're putting like a for sale sign up at the front of their
everybody.
house. Yeah,
For all their pitchers and
I mean DeGrom. I'm hearing he could end up on the Yankees. The Mets want Gleyber Torres. That's probably not going to happen, but maybe
No way.
Andujar and Justin Sheffield. I've heard.
don't think they're giving up Gleyber Torres.
No,
The Yankees
I
are.
feel like he's untouchable at this point.
pretty much. I don't know. I kind of like hearing you guys lament over the Mets every week. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, they set a record for losses in the month of. All right, let's just move on. The Dodgers sent down Walker Buehler, which is, I don't know, kind of interesting move. I think they're, like I said earlier, trying to limit his innings. The last time we talked about him being injured and having him stay on the DL longer. He came in for 1 inning, gave up like 5 runs, so maybe they thought he needed like to work at his mechanics and things like that. But he'll get stretched out in the minors. I don't know if you can really hold him. He might be droppable right now.
Not someone to stash.
His upside's really good. I mean, you can't really look at his stats right now and base what he did because that one bad inning kind of deflated or inflated them. But he was doing really, really well.
All right, let's get into like some injury news.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
Some hitters. Who's on our list here?
Well, obviously, let's just get some of the people that returned.
Returned
Acuna
and stuff,
returned. Yeah, so
Hit a home run last night as well. Very nice.
yeah, I think he had 2 runs and 2 RBIs too. And he hasn't really produced yet, but don't give up on him. The upside is still ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if we really need to mention Jay Bruce, hip injury, out probably another couple weeks. Lorenzo Cain, this is a new one, and it's a groin injury, so that could limit his base stealing the rest of the season. I don't know.
They're pretty common though. You can kind of.
But Lorenzo Cain is a little bit older player
over
now,
it quick.
and he's had a lot of injuries in his career already. So every time he goes on the DL, I immediately start to get kind of concerned. AJ Pollock, I mean, I feel like this rehab assignment's been going on forever. Probably another 1-2 weeks away. He just started a rehab assignment on Friday with trying to recover from a thumb injury. Carlos Correa, that's a new injury, back injury, and it's retroactive to June 26th. It looks like he'll probably just be on there for the minimum, but you never know with back injuries. Chris Bryant, shoulder inflammation, probably another 1 to 2 weeks. And then Byron Buxton, they really are probably going to just let him stay in the minors until he starts to hit because he's not hitting at all there. He's coming off a toe injury, so you could probably see him out another 2 to 3 weeks. Cespedes, I mean, he returns whenever he really wants to. He has a hip quad injury, and we already mentioned Gary Sanchez. Josh Donaldson had a setback in his rehab, and I think he's probably out another 2 more weeks now. And as far as pitchers go, there's a lot of injuries there too. There's a lot.
There's some return this week though.
Robbie Ray returned. Mike Foltynewicz returned. Brandon Morrow returned. So like Arodys Vizcaíno is just about to probably Monday
For the
from a
Braves,
shoulder injury.
yeah, coming back for the Braves, yep.
Dylan Bundy's probably a couple weeks away with an ankle injury. He played catch on Friday, and he's likely to return around the 6th of July, so, hopefully a week, maybe less. Aaron Sanchez, right finger soreness. He always has some kind of weird finger injury. I wouldn't expect him to come back, maybe 1 to 2. I don't know. Garrett Richards, 1-2 weeks with a hamstring injury, and he struggled really bad in his last rehab start, so that should just extend his absence from the returning.
He's had a pretty bad injury history too in the past, so you got to be careful with him.
Yeah, Garrett Richards has so much upside. Not so much, but
he's gonna be
whenever
out.
he does pitch, he performs pretty well. He just can never make it through a full season, ever. Johnny Cueto's right elbow inflammation. I feel like he's just really taking his time coming back. Tanaka, I mean,
Still pretty soon, right?
I don't know. I'm sick
Still
of
out
talking
for a
about
bit.
Tanaka. I feel like he's always there too. Carlos Carrasco, I don't know. It's weird with that right elbow contusion. I'm hearing they might hold him out past the All-Star break, which is weird because I didn't think that he'd be on there for more than the minimum. But maybe they just don't really need to rush him.
Yeah, I think it's more of a conserving your pitchers and keeping fresh for the postseason. Really, I think they're just trying to pace themselves at this point.
Yeah, and if they don't really need him right now, so why why rush him back? Chad Kuhl, that's a relatively new injury. I don't know if you have anything on that, but it's a right forearm strain.
Yeah, I think it was just recently retroactive to the 26th, I believe. Right forearm strain is pulled from his start. So he could be gone for a little while. It's not going to be too long, but the forearm strain is always something to pay attention to because sometimes it leads to other more serious injuries.
Well, and a lot of times if you have one injury, you try and compensate and you get injured somewhere else.
Right.
Yu Darvish, I don't even want to talk about this motherfucker anymore. I really am sick
Please
of him.
no.
I will never
Tyler
roster
hates
for
him
Yu
too.
Darvish again. He is so soft. He's a Munson. Let's just move on. Vincent Velasquez, this is a new one. Vince Velasquez just got injured in his last start, which was yesterday, I think, and didn't look that good. Bruce
No.
right forearm.
With the injury itself, look bad.
Well,
Or
he
just
didn't
like-
look that great either.
Oh, he just looked bad.
No, yeah. Noah Syndergaard, another person I'm sick of talking about. I don't even. Yeah, let's move on. Right finger ligament strain for him. I feel like this injury just keeps getting worse and worse, which is interesting to me because he's not pitching. So
Yeah, well, he's probably trying to train.
I don't know. Is he like have some kind of degenerative disease that like is affecting his fingers? I don't know. It's getting worse instead of getting better in his recovery, which is I don't know if it's anything more Mets than that. But Michael Wacha, oblique strain. He's looking like still 2 to 3 weeks away. It's a pretty serious injury he's dealing with. And Soroka, he was put on the 60-day DL, so
That's a pretty long time.
yeah, I think his season's kind of I don't know. I had him on a lot of teams, so
Well, they don't really have a lot of reasons to rush him back too much because he's only 20. They don't want to ruin his career. Of course,
Yeah,
they're going to
exactly.
take their time.
it's almost the younger the pitcher. You see, like with Bueller, the more they just want to handle it with as much, give him as much time as they need.
It's only smart.
But we have a pretty big update on Ohtani. It looks like he is just going to come back as a hitter, as we speculated, and not pitch again probably.
Right.
Which
They said they're talking a little bit about having that treatment, that surgery in the off season so that he can continue to hit next season as well and then eventually come back to pitching. So that's a really, I don't know, it's a completely different than anything we've ever seen before. So I'm not sure how well that would work out, but it's the plan right now.
Well, also, he could make the injury worse or like get injured somewhere else by having that injury already to deal with.
So it's gonna be a Tommy John surgery,
Yeah, eventually.
like in the off season. Yeah, they're just not gonna be good hitting with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they should just
Seems
maybe
really
let him
risky.
just let him he's too important of a player to mess around with like
Well,
that.
you just decide what he is now. Like, is he a pitcher or a hitter?
No, they
don't want to
they're
decide
paying
that.
him to do both. That's not
Yeah.
happening, and he wants to do both. But yeah,
Right now, he kind of has the control because when he came over, there was like a cap on how much they could pay him. So there wasn't really any team that could cater to him more with money, but they could cater to him with, hey, we'll let you play both positions as much as you want, your schedule. So right now, it's kind of the ball's in his court, but we'll see if it goes in the future. He's more of an impact pitcher than a batter, honestly. So I would imagine that's where they want to keep him going forward.
and he showed his upside as a pitcher this year. He had starts with over 10 strikeouts in them, starts where he pretty much shut out teams. So it's not like he was struggling as a pitcher to have him just give up on doing it.
Exactly.
This news could change on him any week, probably too.
Yeah, you never know. But let's get into the ads for the week, starting with the hitters. Some decent ones. Mitch Moreland, I feel like he was kind of worth mentioning a couple weeks ago. He started to struggle a little bit, and now he's coming out of it. And, he has a decent floor, 260, 270 hitter, kind of 20 home runs plus. And in that lineup, I think he's worth rostering. He's only 59% owned. I could see that being at 70.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's worth it. Good team context. He's had a few good seasons before, 20 home runs, 260, 270 average. And with, the Boston context and more playing time, no Hanley Ramirez to get in the way of first base, then, yeah, he's going to have a pretty good season, I think.
Yeah, what is going on with Hanley Ramirez? I'm hearing some weird stuff that he's connected to some strange drug deal. His name was mentioned, and nobody's signing him. And he was having a decent season. He was on pace for 20 home runs, 20 steals.
He started the season hot, but what I'm reading and what I'm hearing is that there was someone who was arrested for having drugs who actually FaceTimed Hanley Ramirez in front of the cops. And this guy was in possession of cocaine and other stuff. So
some Pablo Escobar type shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So and that was corresponding to the Red Sox move to cut him. It was like the day before or right around that time. So I'm sure that's playing into it.
Yeah, he's under federal investigation right now.
Yep.
But
that's it.
that's probably why he's not getting signed though, because there's so many teams that could use him. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of a big deal though.
Speaking of the Mets and Rays, I would take Hanley Ramirez over the shit they're pumping out there right now. Actually, the Rays have C.J. Cron, but the Mets have what? Fucking Dominic Smith. All right. Getting back to Mitch Moreland though, he should be rostered in more than, he's probably a 12-team kind of ad, maybe 14 if you really need first base. But then Jose Peraza, who is always kind of borderline worth owning, and he's over 54% now, qualifies at second and shortstop, and 270 floor, maybe 5-10 home runs, 15 to 20 stolen bases. That's worth owning to me.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good ceiling when you look at it. He's had kind of a fluky couple of years here. He had a great season in 2016. He was hitting over 300. He got 21 steals in about half a season, and then he had kind of a drop-off last year, even though he played a lot more, almost a full season. But he's got good plate discipline. He's making better quality of contact. He's not getting caught as much on the bases, so I think this is probably someone you want to invest in now, buy a little bit lower, because he's going to improve as the season goes on and have a better season than last year.
Yeah, in 2016 he hit 324, and his OPS was 762, but it dropped off almost 100 points to 622. So he did struggle in 2017, but even struggling, he still managed to get 20 steals. So he does have a good. He's shown his upside a little bit from the per game average, but he's also shown his floor. So if we can do something in the middle, to me he profiles as a 270 plus hitter, hopefully, and like we mentioned, the 20 steal floor. That's definitely worth owning.
Mm-hmm.
Manuel Margot, very frustrating player. He's shown his upside. He got 10, 15 home runs, maybe 20, 30 steals if he could play a full season, but he's not a very good base stealer, even though he's got a lot of speed, and he can never seem to hit for over 250, 260 range. He always seems to be. I thought he could profile as a 270, 280 hitter, but he's a 255 career hitter. He's only played 126 games in his highest, games played in a season, so he's really not shown it, but he does have upside there, and that lineup's a little bit better now that they have Will Myers and Eric Hosmer.
Right. And there was an interesting article on MLB.com that kind of detailed some of the adjustments he's made and how he's improved since then. He's been able to take an aggressive type lunge out of his swing. And since then, very interestingly, he's gained 46 points of batting average. So if you can kind of factor that in, then you have a little bit more of less of a drag in your average and still the power speed potential, which is obviously huge. It's pretty rare to have someone good in both categories contribute consistently. So a high ceiling again.
And playing time might be an issue because they had to put Will Myers in the outfield to make room for Hosmer at first. Perella's still there, Renfroe. Hopefully, maybe they'll trade some of them because I think the Padres should be trading anything that has value. They're going to be rebuilding for the next 20 years probably.
Yeah, they got a real low average here in the league. They're ranked 27th.
Yeah, they're I don't know, that Hosmer trade is a little interesting to me and kind of confusing to pay somebody that much money to just be on a losing team for like 3 years and then eventually leave by the time they're good or something. But I don't know. It's the Padres.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I could see one side of it. If they are able to turn the corner and move from rebuilding to actually competing, then at least they have some veteran presence there, but they still have to do that. They still have to turn that corner.
And then we got Kevin Kiermaier, who got some Braves represented, 21% owned. That's definitely going to go up as he comes off of his injury and starts to kind of. He's only hitting 160 right now. He's a 257 career hitter, so he could easily hit 250, 260. But 2020 kind of guy. I mean, he's had some decent seasons. He's had 18 steal, 21 steal, 16 steal seasons in limited games. He is. I don't want to say injury prone, but the way he plays defensively, he does tend to get in a lot of injuries just trying to, do stuff near the wall. Yeah. And, I mean, you've seen him play a lot. He's very kind of reckless with his body when he plays defense.
Yeah, I'm holding my breath every time. I got to go to a Rays game when they played the Yankees last week, and he made this diving catch that he dove after he caught the ball. And I'm like, what are you doing? We need you too badly for you to be doing cartwheels and somersaults in the outfield. So hopefully, he can maintain that positive defensive presence in center field, but play a little bit more cautiously, I guess.
Well, he's a Gold Glover, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think multiple times, and that's in not even playing full seasons. He's had 108 games played, 151, 105, and 98. So you see, he can't get through a full season, but when he plays, he's worth owning. And then starting pitchers this week was a little bit of a struggle. I mean, other than Zach Eflin, it's a little bit more of the deeper options, but Eflin's finally reaching over 50% owned, and he's been really good in his past few starts. I think he's won like 4 or 5 in a row, and his ERA is almost under 3. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about what he's done to kind of change the way he's pitching and, show why he's having the success.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of that name, it doesn't really stand out in any way until this season. He's had like above 5 and then above 6 ERAs in the past 2 seasons. But in 2018, not only has his velocity spiked a pretty decent amount, actually. You can see that it's up almost to 95 right now on a typical average day. But he's correlated that to an increased K rate. So he's getting more strikeouts. He's leveled out on his walks. He's well below average, about 5%, whereas average is maybe 8% walk rate. And he's getting above 20% strikeout rate. So between the velocity increase and his ability to pitch more to get more whiffs, he's actually shown himself to be a pretty capable starter in the Phillies rotation, which the Phillies have been a great team so far this year. So he's got a good potential for wins as well. He's got 10 starts and 6 wins, which is excellent.
Yeah, I worry a little bit about the K rate because it's been pretty low in every other season, but maybe if you can get a K per, that'd be pretty good. And then as far as other starting pitchers...
Oh, we got Marco Gonzalez here in Seattle.
Mm-hmm. And his last start was a complete game, gave up 1 run. I think he had 8 strikeouts. He's been pretty solid, and he's shown from his prospect pedigree in St. Louis, he has a little bit of upside.
I like that he's got, a 5-pitch game. I really like that. He can do a lot.
Absolutely.
And then, I mean, I'm going to have more Mets in here, but Steven Matz is finally healthy. Finally healthy. I don't know how long it'll last, but for the time it does, he's worth owning. He's probably going to be about a strikeout per inning pitcher. Always has a pretty decent whip in ERA, but the run support will not be there, obviously, with the Mets. And I'm just hoping maybe he gets traded to a better situation, maybe Seattle, something like that.
Yeah, there's a few contending teams that could really use him right now. And I know part of the issue was that his velocity dropped off, but he's kind of adjusted to that a little bit better. He's not an extreme strikeout pitcher, but he's getting decent strikeout rates and he's getting a good amount of ground balls. So that's a good sign that he'll be able to keep it going in the future.
Yeah, and this is a fun name to say. Jonathan Loaisiga. He's on the Yankees. We call him Lasagna.
I've heard it pronounced like 8 different ways. I don't. Yeah, but he's got pretty decent K per inning upside. I don't know. Anyone in that pitching staff is worth owning just for the chance of getting wins in the run support. I mean, you see Domingo Germán's done pretty well there.
Yeah, and he's pretty much the competition for good old Johnny Lasagna right now because we got a few injuries in the rotation, but there's really not going to be two spots available when Tanaka comes back. So Herman has had a rough start last week, so we'll see where Loaisiga's future takes him, but he's definitely got the potential for the ERA he has right now and a little bit lower WHIP because he's had such good control in the minors.
And Tanaka, I don't know he'll really be back anytime soon. He's a slow
He's
healer
in for a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then
yeah, just don't make him run.
Yeah, don't make him run.
No, he'll pull both hamstrings.
We got some deep league stuff here, right? Want to talk about a little bit of them?
Well, I think let's move on to the closers.
All right, we can go on that. So let's go on to some closers. So, what's this? Wiley or Willie Peralta?
I think
it's Willie.
It's Willy, but I've heard it said Wiley and Willie.
We'll do a poll on this on our Twitter actually, and what do you guys on how to pronounce this here?
But he's obviously a Kansas City Royals closer, so let's put a disclaimer on there. Those in need of saves desperately use, but other than that, he's probably going to destroy your ERA and WHIP. I don't know. He kind of failed starter for the Brewers. I mean, maybe he can do what like Wade Davis did and become a better relief pitcher or something like that, but it looks like right now he's the preferred choice for Ned Yost. And like I said, if you really need saves. Then next,
Gotta be desperate.
Tyler Clippard on Toronto. Ryan DePera was just put on the DL, and Roberto Osuna is still going to be suspended, I think until August, something like that. But Clippard's got some decent numbers, and he's had good numbers for his career. 5 saves on the season, about a 3 ERA. And then, I mean, San Francisco, I don't know, the situation there.
The Fresh Prince of San Francisco here.
Oh, yeah, Will Smith. Well,
he's white, but still.
Right. His numbers are really good. And I don't know if you want to talk about maybe
Parents
some
don't
changes he made.
understand him.
I don't know if you want to explain maybe why he's pitching so right now, because he's had some, I don't know, okay seasons and decent ones, but kind of a weird career.
Yeah, very much so. But what's interesting is that his K rate's been going up steadily over the season. So when you take a look at that, it correlates really well to his ability to get people to swing outside of the zone. So you've seen a huge spike in the past, 10, 15 games in his K rate. So he's got good potential. Obviously, the Giants' whole bullpen situation is kind of a mess right now. You got Strickland punching stuff that is inanimate, which
Broken
doesn't help.
hand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Doing random stuff. He always looked like that kind of guy who would punch a door, honestly. In any picture, he looks like that kind of guy. And then Dyson had the role. He's been pretty sketchy. He's blown 4 saves.
Yeah, he's not a closer.
So
he really needs to be just, yeah, he can't handle that. And Tony Watson's a left-handed specialist. Mark Melanson's not ready to take over yet for some reason. I don't know. He's probably still rusty.
So that's good.
Yeah, there must be a good reason that they're not trusting Melanson after they just signed him on with that contract. So obviously the trust isn't there. So someone else has to take over, and Will Smith's a pretty good option.
But Melanson has been, a top 15 closer just as far as like 1-2 years ago. It's not like he's washed up or anything. It's just he'll get it back eventually.
So he's getting G with that K rate. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, Jose Alvarado. Sergio Romo got pulled from a save opportunity, and I don't know why, but Alvarado has much better stuff than Sergio Romo. They just don't want to give him the job yet. But if you're speculating, he should be owned.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a pretty good chance the Rays trade off Romo before the deadline?
I mean, they're almost a 500 team, though. Do they think they can get a wild card spot in that division? It's kind of the Yankees and Red Sox.
They're both really good
Yeah,
this year.
Yeah, they're
right.
They're like
Every
ridiculous
they're
this
both
year.
in the same division of like top five
Yeah.
teams. So I don't think the Rays have any shot of ever making the playoffs again.
that's gonna be rough for a long
I
time
know
to come.
the Red Sox have like Benintendi and Devers, so they're both like 23. I don't think the Rays are going to be doing anything but trading every like somewhat asset they have. So yeah, Romo's probably getting moved. And just some other trade deadline stash closers. Kirby Yates, there's a chance Brad Hand gets moved. Jared Hughes and Amir Garrett, there's a chance that Rafael Iglesias gets traded. And maybe Zach Britton gets moved, so Brad Brock. But we'll get closer to that as the deadline approaches. And
Yeah, another interesting name too might be Lou Trevino in Oakland. I know Trinan has the closer spot locked down pretty well, but Oakland's not afraid to make moves, and they could get a pretty good haul to a contending team if they do decide to move Trinan. So Trevino's shown that he's got the ability to step in and grab a couple saves. So that's a situation, a position battle to keep your eye on.
he's only a rookie, but he's got 6 wins on the year. I think 3 saves. The Athletics have said they don't want to move Trinan because he's pretty cheap, and I think he has several years on his contract. But if they do change their mind, he's definitely somebody you have to stash. And his ERA and WHIP are very strong.
Yeah, well, and think about too the kind of haul that teams got for Chapman and for Miller just a few years ago. You could get something easily that big for someone like Trinan right now. So they might say that he is locked down at the moment, but if the right price comes around, I don't think the A's will hesitate.
Also, Trinan, he's never really shown to, more than like this. I think his value is going to be peak right now if you're moving him. I don't know if he can really keep this up. And then as far as stat specialists go, if you're looking for batting average, Matt Duffy is pretty solid. Ben Zobrist, he's kind of in a platoon, but still hitting over 290. Starlin Castro is always a good contact hitter. John Jay. And then as far as home runs go, Randall Grichuk is hot right now. And whenever you see him kind of, hitting maybe 3 or 4 in a week, something like that, he's worth owning. He's done it in St. Louis. Eric Thames with Domingo Santana sent down, finally getting a chance to play every day. And as far as the steals leaders, I mean, pretty much the same, but Malik Smith should be rostered in more than 15% of leagues. I guess he's a 14 kind of team league kind of guy right now, but same thing with Delano DeShields. I'm surprised he's not owned in more leagues than 34%. And then, I don't know, just as far as drops, you want to go
Yeah,
over
we should
real
go through
quick?
drops. We never do that, right?
Well, I
We
mean, a
haven't
lot
got
of them
to
are
it,
pretty
yeah.
self-explanatory. I mean, Kelvin Herrera is not a closer anymore.
To drop them.
Sam Dyson was, I don't know why, he should have never even got a chance to be a closer. We all have seen Sam Dyson, the story before. The only reason he's on the Giants is because he couldn't close for the Rangers. So Fernando Romero got sent down, which is kind of surprising to me because it's not like Twins have so much talent in that rotation to not see what he can do. But I'm not the GM for the Twins. We already talked about Hector Neris. He's a waste of
He's
time.
sent down, so.
Domingo Santana, Miguel Sano. I don't know if we'll be seeing them for a while. Miguel Sano, I wonder what he's doing right now.
Probably eating
Let's go back to Santana for a moment, though.
Yeah, Miguel Sano is probably on his back right now, just like
Thinking about
passed
deli meat.
out from a food coma. Yeah.
What do you think, ham or turkey? His favorite deli meat.
Probably ham.
Probably a lot of ham.
Definitely
yeah.
ham.
Likes those Cuban sandwiches.
Oh, Seth Lugo
What do you
got
guys
sent
think
back
about,
to the bullpen too for some reason. Another brilliant move
why
by
do
the
you
Mets.
think that happened?
Wait, what are you saying there, Ryan? Missed you there.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that Lugo got sent back to the bullpen. I think it's probably a positive sign that they're definitely going to be selling. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, that and Adrian Gonzalez being just released instead of even benched for a little bit shows they just want to bring up Dominic Smith, see what he can do.
Trade
Not
signs.
much. They do have
Right.
Peter Alonso as another first base prospect, but yeah, I mean, I think the Mets need to get any kind of value they can out of DeGrom before he gets injured, because that's probably going to happen.
Right. I want to go back to Santana for a second, too. So he was sent down. Obviously, he had a lot of potential, showed good positive signs last year. What do you guys think about moving Santana? Where do you find or where could you see him ending up if he gets traded?
Well, it would have to be a playoff team or a team that's trying to make the playoffs
Gonna
that could
win
use
now.
outfield help. So maybe the Diamondbacks would be good, or Phillies maybe.
Because he,
That would be interesting to see him on the Phillies. It's just I
Yeah.
feel like the Brewers squandered his value. He had 30 home runs and 15 steals last year, and they could have moved him in the offseason. Instead, they bring in Lorenzo Cain and Yelich, destroying his chance to play every day. he obviously shows that he can't. He struggled with not being an everyday player, and instead of just benching him or letting him figure it out, they sent him down. But what did you do to his trade value?
Yeah, that
Destroyed
only
it,
just plummets value.
Yeah.
Especially for other teams.
Brewers are very confusing franchise because you see what they did with like Jesus Aguilar, who's got 19 home runs and is like a MVP candidate. But
Wisconsin,
then,
Wisconsin might want to just stick to football. They got a pretty good team there.
Yeah.
They could probably just stick with that.
Yeah, speaking of football, we're just gonna have to start doing that soon.
Oh yeah.
But, I mean, for more information, obviously, the newsletter will have more than we're covering. But
Yeah. So exactly, that's definitely where to go. You can sign up there. Go to our website to sign up for stuff. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can also become a Patreon because we got Patreon right now.
Discord, you can find us on. We're trying to definitely do a lot more one-on-one help service and things like that.
Yeah, so like that's part of our Patreon service where you can sign up to our Discord server and ask us questions.
Get
We'll get back to you.
individualized help and customized to whatever your league settings are and things like that. More specific help.
We're also on Twitter. We're at FSH Sports. You can find us there.
Facebook.
Ryan, what's your handle?
I'm at Baseball Big Head on Twitter. And also, guys, make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already to the podcast. Leave us a 5-star review if you don't mind, or just send back some comments on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. That would help a lot.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We're on everything. We're trying to be on a lot of different services, so you guys can get it anywhere and everywhere. This should be the only thing you listen to.
Right, yeah. Just 24/7, no matter what you're doing.
And once you finish the episode, you should restart it.
Right.
Because why not? What are you doing?
Because this stuff is gold.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good one.